It's so easy in business to focus on the parts of your business that you absolutely love doing and ignore other parts that may be absolutely critical to the success and profitability of your business. The core revenue flow is a tool that I use with my clients and internally in our own business to visualize exactly how your business generates money with or without your involvement. If you can systemize the creation of new clients, deliver service to those clients, and then get repeat business and referrals from those clients, you can create a business that truly can scale without your involvement. The core revenue flow is exactly how we map this out and identify which areas of your business need your desperate attention and which ones maybe can be left for a while, even if they're the ones you really enjoy working on. Today is going to be an episode where I'm going to be sharing my screen, but I'll be talking through this. If you're listening to this on the podcast, don't go away. Please keep on listening. However, if as you're going through this, you do want to see what I'm actually showing on the screen to actually walk you through it visually as I'm actually talking, then hop over to our website, www.systemizeyoursuccess.com, find the page for this episode, and on there will be a video for you to actually follow through as I go through this episode. Also on there will be a downloadable version of the core revenue template, which you can then use within your business to map out your own core revenue flow and give your systemization and your entire business more direction and clarity on exactly how to put the cash generation machine on autopilot. I hope you enjoy.
So the question is this: how do entrepreneurs like us, who don't have an endless supply of cash, how do we leverage the best apps, virtual assistants, automation tools, and systems to scale our businesses, increase our profits, and have more time to do what we love to do each day? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name's Dr. Steve Day, and this is Systemize Your Success.
One of the challenges that I face as a business owner with ADHD is the ability to hyper focus on certain areas of the business at the total cost of others. I can get blinkered and just focus on doing the stuff that I really love doing and I have made a priority in my own brain, even though it might actually not be the right thing for the business as a whole for me to be actually focusing my time on. I created the core revenue flow as a way for me to visualize the entire cash flow system in our business. How do we actually generate money on a recurring basis in order to be able to identify those holes, the areas which I was neglecting and the areas which if I put some time and focus on, would allow the whole process to flow more smoothly without my involvement. Now, I designed this to solve my own problems, but like many things that I've created systems for in the past, when I started sharing this with our clients, they also got massive benefit. And in fact, when I've gone through this with our coaching clients, it's one of those typical aha moments in their client journey where they suddenly see their business for the first time for what it is, in a means to, yes, serve your clients, yes, give them value. But when it boils down to it, your business needs to be creating revenue in order for it to be sustainable and for you to continue doing good in the world. So without really visualizing, without being very clear on how it is that your business generates recurring revenue and being able to systemize that entire process so you're not involved in it, then without that in place, you are your business. Your business cannot scale without you. It can't function really without you. If you can't create revenue without your day-to-day involvement, then it's not a business that can grow beyond you. Now, you may be sat there thinking, well, I'm happy. I'm happy being part of my business. I want to be involved with it. I don't want to scale beyond me. I don't want to remove myself entirely. Then great. Then what this core revenue flow allows you to do is to be able to be sure that you are generating the most amount of revenue possible by systemizing the entire flow, even if you're involved in it. Because if you can get other people to help you out at each stage in the process, you can amplify all the parts that you need in order to increase your revenue, whether or not you are actually doing any of those steps yourself. So it doesn't matter if you're a small business owner with just yourself or just a few employees, or you're a bigger business owner. You need to be absolutely crystal clear on what are the systems and the processes and the steps in place to find new clients, to deliver a service, and then to actually get repeat business. And the core revenue flow is exactly what that does. In this video, I'm going to walk through, first of all, an overview of the steps in the core revenue flow. I'm then going to show you a real life example, one that I have done for our own business, so you can see how this actually looks in reality, and then demonstrate how you're going to use a template, which will be downloadable and available to you. If you're listening to this on the podcast, just head over to our website to www.systemizeyoursuccess.com, systemize with a Z, yoursuccess.com. And on there, on the show notes for this particular episode, you'll find a downloadable template. And if you're looking at this on our course site, you'll find it on or around this video. So get that template. You can then edit it. It's published in an app called Lucidchart, which we use for all of our flowcharts and our diagramming purposes in our business. And you can get a free account and edit this document and export it and print it. So you can use this in your business without having to pay. And obviously, if you want to sign up for it afterwards, then I think it's a great app. As I say, it's one that we use in our business all the time, and one I highly recommend to our clients. So this may be a great introduction to a fantastic app which you've never looked at before. So as I said, the link will be there for you to then import this into your own account, and you will need to set up a free account, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like, what the template looks like in a few minutes. Okay, so the core revenue flow is broken down into the very typical stages of a client journey. It is in effect how we take a client or somebody who doesn't even know who we are all the way through to being a raving fan in your business. And if you're just getting started with this, you're probably gonna have a lot of holes in that, and that's fine. You just plug the holes as you go along, and I'll show you how you can grade each of the stages of this to say, like, where is it at right now, and is this something I need to look at immediately, or is it something that can be parked? And if you are, again, in early stages, you may think, I don't need to do any of the awareness stuff. I'm just relying on referrals right now, and that's how I'm generating my leads. Then great, you can ignore that for now. So you take this and use it in a way that's suitable for your size of business and where you are at the moment. So let me just walk through each of the stages, and then I'm going to actually show you a real life example, which I hopefully will pull it all together and show you how you can actually implement it in your own business. So first of all, we have awareness. So how do we make people aware of our presence? How do we build authority, and how do we build trust in people that we've never met? And this is things like social media, website traffic, the media channels that you might be going on to through PR, whatever. You then need to attract potential clients towards you and to gather their contact information so you can then follow them up. So this is your lead generation. So things like opt-ins, lead magnets, referrals, forms on your website, messaging funnels, webinars, whatever it is that you put out into the world where someone's going to sign up or give you their contact information, raise their hand and say, this is actually something that I'm quite interested in. And then once you've got those leads in your database, we need to nurture them. You need to keep front of mind as people may be weeks away, months away from actually needing exactly what you offer, but they were interested in it when they signed up. And now we need to actually keep just giving them a little nudge, saying, we're still here. This is what we do. This is what we're good at. How do you do that? Is it via emails? Is it via free training events, a newsletter? Is it case studies that you publish? And what we'll get into the second about the IT stack as well, so the software stack. And that comes into this. And so what apps do you need in order to actually deliver each stage in this process? Then once we've got people on our database, we want to actually convert these leads, these warm leads now. They've raised their hand, they're warm. We want to convert them into hot prospects. And again, this could be through sales webinars, through workshops, through courses or discovery or strategy calls. Any way in which we are actually giving the person an opportunity to say, yes, I'm really interested in what you do, and also give them more information about you and your business specifically. Next, we want to convert those hot prospects into qualified opportunities. And again, this could be through a call, a strategy call type approach. It could be through a meeting. It could be through in-person meeting. It could be through an application form, a survey app that you've done, a quiz, anything that allows you to actually be sure that this is the type of person or type of business that I want to actually work with. I want to become one of my clients, and let people qualify themselves in or qualify themselves out as actually needing the services that you offer. And then finally, how to actually close the opportunities into paying customers. And here, this could be a Zoom call, it could be a phone call, it could be sending them a written proposal, maybe or signing an agreement, or combination of those things. So it's not that we need one thing for each. As I show you the template, to see how we can add multiple elements to each stage in this, depending on the way you actually run your business. If people don't buy from you, if they don't become a client, but they have shown they're a good fit, they are interested, but it wasn't maybe the right time, how do we then follow them up? How do we chase them up? Is it calls? Is it texts? Is it emails? Is it automated? Or is it one-to-one? Is it manual? Who's doing it? Is it you? Is it a salesperson? Is it an admin VA? What are the processes around that? Next, how do we physically take money from them? Is it they walk up to you and give you their hard-earned cash? Do you have a checkout facility on your website? Do you take their credit card over the phone? Is it invoice? Next, once you've got their money, how do you upsell them? Is there any other value that you can add to them at the time of purchase, which allows them to then get more, enhance the value they receive at that initial point of contact or point of engagement, and obviously increase your revenue at the same time? Things like discounts, special offers, feature ads, whatever it is that you do. Next, how do we then utilize the momentum this person's got, the enthusiasm they've got? They've just signed up and they want to they want to justify what they've just done, they want to just spent. And one of the ways that people can do that is actually to refer other people to you. They get a status, increase in status. If they think, this is great, this could help a colleague of mine as well. And at the moment of purchase, their enthusiasm and motivation is high. And it's a great time to be asking people. So do you have a formalized process for that? How do you onboard clients? You're giving them access to courses, or sending them welcome emails, or sending the product, or finding out their details so you can send the product in, for example. Do you send them a questionnaire, requesting information, set up project management, update CRMs, all those sort of back office stuff? What happens in the back office when somebody actually pays for your service? And then very importantly, how do you then deliver on the promises that you've made? What is it that you actually do for that client for the money that they've paid you? Is it that you do coaching? Is it support? Is it send them a product? Is it that you do work for them? Is it you set up websites? Whatever it is that you do as your business. Then how do we amplify that? So how do we get case studies, testimonials? How do we ask for referrals for existing clients? And then finally, how do we then get repeat business from that client? Do you have a community, paid community? Is it an ascension model? Do you do loyalty discounts? Do you have a points or gamification system so people are encouraged to come back and spend more with you? What are the things in place? And once you've mapped, once you've got this idea that this is a multi-step process, and to put your cash generation on autopilot, you actually have to fill most of these. Not all businesses will require all of these, but most businesses will require, or all businesses will require most of these. And if we break this down now step by step, looking at the actual specific activities that you do in each one, and also what systems or IT or software support that, you then get a really good picture of where your business is at, where the holes might be in this core revenue flow. And therefore, you can identify where you and your team should be focusing your efforts on. To do this, I'm going to actually flick over to an example core revenue flow map, which is one from our business. And this will then show you how I actually fill this in and give you some ideas, and hopefully how you can do this yourself. So in this example, it's our Systems Mastery Academy. It's our main flagship coaching program. And our target audience is micro business owners. And that's important, obviously, for your marketing, but also important when you're thinking about, how you're going to make people aware. Well, if you're thinking in this example for this specific product, if it's micro business owners, the things you do to make people aware may be different from if you're for a different product line, it was, big corporate businesses, because the avenues and the channels you might use, the strategies you might use might be totally different. So identifying the target audience for each core revenue flow you do is a very important stage in the process before you just get cracking with it. And just as a side note here, you will have potentially multiple revenue streams in your business. The idea of the core revenue flow is to say, look, if everything else failed in my business, if I just had this one revenue stream, this would still sustain the business. It would still allow me to put food on the table. What is this? How can I systemize the hell out of this first, and then have more time to focus and more money to focus on actually systemizing other revenue streams in your business? And also one other thing, and that is for people in property. So particularly like property managers, estate agents, people that look after properties for other people, service accommodation, for example. For those types of businesses, you will have different core revenue flows for example, acquiring new properties, acquiring new landlords, and acquiring new tenants. Each of those things in its own right is a type of core revenue flow, because they are totally different in how you actually approach each of those elements of your business. And whatever your business type is, you might have a similar example where actually to the overall generation of income in your business is actually reliant on a number of revenue flows. I suggest you break each one of those down to make them very clear that this one, for example, for property, this is how we get new tenants. This is how we get new properties, or this is how we get new landlords, depending on your type of property business. And that way it allows you to stay more focused, and also, for example, at a time where you're full of tenants, you've got no room spare, well, maybe we can actually flip our attention to getting some more landlords or buying some new properties. Or conversely, if you've got excess properties, then maybe you should flip your attention onto finding more tenants, because you need to actually get the tenants in to pay the rent. So to pay the rent, so to speak, to actually put money on the table, I should say. And so by breaking those, even though the whole picture is needed in order to sustain the business, at any one time in your business, you may be more focused on one particular one of your core revenue flows. Okay, so here is the stages I just listed down here on this sheet, and then we're going to actually map out at each stage what is it that we do as a business. So this is for systems and outsourcing. My podcast, Systemize Your Success, is one of the main ways that we make people aware, and it's actually the main source of all the other content that we do. So our blogs, our posts, our reels, our Instagram, whatever the team does, it all comes from this. So for me, that is core. And if I just had my podcast, then that would actually allow me to build a reputation with people, and people would come towards me. And I can also, for example, later in the process, this feeds in, because when I'm trying to get trust with people who've been referred to me, we can often offer that they, or suggest that they listen to a specific episode. Maybe I've interviewed a client who's in a similar business to theirs, so it becomes actually part of a tool in our sales process as well. So I've identified that as being core for our revenue. I'll show you in a minute why these are broken up onto different stages and what these holds are for. When you'll see, this is actually related to the software stack. I'll put this up very briefly, and I'll take it down just so it doesn't get distracting. So for example, our podcast is on our particular systems and software stack here. It's on Omni Studio, and we use a company called Progressive Media to actually help us with that. Our blog is on Descript, Canva, WordPress, or Storychief. Or those are the apps that we use in order to create the blog, for example. For our social media, so we've broken up into Facebook and LinkedIn pages, and then the YouTube, Instagram, TikTok channels. And those are the way we deliver content onto those, is using these specific apps. So that's why we want to have that systems, the IT or the software stack is related to each row on this, because then it allows you to be clear that, look, if we're not doing anything on the blog at the moment, if that's not something we're focusing on, we don't need to worry about the software stack in there. We can just ignore it. But if we are focused on the podcast, we need to be sure that that part of the software stack is absolutely nailed. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just going to put this down. Oops, I'm just going to close this down for a second, and I'll bring it back up once we've been back through and show you the software stack in a little bit more detail. Okay, so next we've got going through, we've got aware. So in ours, we've also in the awareness stage, we've got our Facebook group. On here, this is actually a core part of how we've generated leads over the years. It's about building trust, it's about building awareness. There are other things on this in this awareness, but they're not core. Like if we got rid of all of our Facebook pages, our LinkedIn group, got rid of our blog, if we got rid of the Instagram, like it wouldn't really affect our revenue flow at this moment in time. And if I had to focus on one thing, what is it going to be? It's actually going to be my podcast, and then I'm going to be my Facebook group second. Next, how do we generate leads into our business? So up to now, referrals has been the strongest way in which we have generated leads. And we have a nurture system called the lead nurture system, which actually and then make sure we are connecting with those people, we are speaking to them. And this could be also incoming people just coming out the blue, so sort of warm leads coming towards us independently. So we need a system to be able to nurture those, to get them onto the next stage in the process. So actually get them booked in for sales calls, etc. And so for us, it's our referrals, and our lead nurture system. And obviously that then takes care of any sort of people moving towards independently, but also all the referrals that we get as well. And there's all the other stuff that happens in our lead. And I actually do nearly all of these things. If you're watching this on video, you'll see there's a couple of red X's. So for example, we haven't currently got our products and services listed on our website. That could actually be a good way for us to increase our leads if we had then, a contact us form about that on that page, for example, or a buy now button. That's a way that we can actually generate leads and even sales directly from the website. We also don't do any warm outbound at the moment as the time of recording this. So there's an X on that, but they're on here because they are very much on the forefront of this is what we're going to be doing next. So when we're planning this out, we're also thinking about the future as well, but they are to the side of the core revenue flow. So if you're looking at this in the video, the green line in the middle is the absolute core, and that is where we need to focus. We may be doing other stuff on the outside, but it shouldn't be distracting us or taking up time from actually delivering the core revenue flow, as that is the thing that is proven to generate money, or we believe, if you've not quite got there yet, we believe that is the quickest and easiest way for us to actually generate money in our business. So for us, for completeness, in our lead section, we've got newsletters, newsletter sign up on our website. We have lead magnet landing pages. We've got automated webinar. We've got cold inbound conversion system. That's what I was describing then with the lead nurture as well. We've got product and services. We've got core booking on the link on the website. We do live events, and then we've got the warm outbound, which isn't in play at the moment. Once we've got people into our world, we've got their email address, we've got their phone number potentially, we then actually send out those people as part of the nurture stage, email nurture regarding our podcast. And also we have a series of emails that we get sent out to all new contacts. As we have a 9-day series to really educate people about our business, how we do, what we stand for, how I built it, all the things we offer. We give them loads of valuable frameworks that they can start implementing to show that we're genuine about giving them massive value, so they can get started with this before they can then come and hopefully work with us more in the future. The next stage is the prospect stage. So how do we convert those leads, those warm leads, into hot prospects? We may, for example, do sales campaigns. We may do live sales events and strategy call, and have a pipeline for setting up strategy calls with leads. So if somebody, for example, downloads one of our lead magnets, then they will get a call. If they give us the genuine phone number, they will get a call off one of our team, our client success team, to actually find out what more can we do right now to help you. They've raised their hand about, I'm interested in recruitment, I'm interested in systems, I'm interested in delegation, management, in project management, whatever it is. They've raised their hand on that particular lead magnet by putting their details in, and now we're going to reach out to them. So the whole system behind that, and that's for us one of the core ways that we actually follow up and generate prospects from our leads. In that process, we'll be then qualifying, are they actually a potential opportunity? Then for opportunities, we want to actually then look at, okay, this opportunity for us, how do we then qualify this person to being actually someone we want to work with, and actually then give them the opportunity to actually take the next logical step and actually go through a sales process. So for us, we have a strategy call. We then have some messaging that goes out in between booking the strategy call. They have a strategy call application form. So they fill out a form in order to have a strategy call with us, because obviously they take time and money for us to run those. So we want to work with the right people on those calls that are A, going to get value from the call, but B, are a potential client, because by the nature of the fact they can get value from what we do, and therefore it's valuable for them being on that call, they're also then somebody that we can offer more help to in the future. And therefore we want to have that process. Then we have the actual strategy call itself, qualifying the person, giving them some value, and actually giving them the opportunity to take the next logical step. When someone wants to actually buy, so we're converting the opportunity into a client now, we're going to send them a written proposal, and then we're going to actually have a closing call in order to actually just answer any questions they've got and actually get them over the line. If they don't, at that point, decide to buy for whatever reason, we will actually follow people up. Or maybe they weren't available, or maybe for some reason the call didn't happen. We want a system in place to make sure we're actually being professional, being persistent, and we are making sure that we're actually following up with people who have identified themselves as needing our help. So that's It's in their interest for us to follow them up, and also means that we are getting the opportunity to actually to get them as a client as well. For us in our system, we don't do any upselling when someone buys something from us. They come onto our program, and for this particular, at the time of creating this one, and for this particular service, we don't offer any upsells or anything. But yeah, and then after upsell, we're going to multiply. So for us, on the phone, when someone buys from us, we're going to ask them, look, who else do you know that would benefit from working with us? Who else do you know that actually is in need of freeing their time, in need of actually systemizing themselves out of their business? We also then have a tracking pipeline. How do we then follow up with all of those potential leads and potential clients that have been referred to us? If someone is generous enough to give us the details or pass on or connect us with a potential client, it's only polite if we actually follow up with that person and actually make sure that we make the best possible effort of actually contact that person and seeing if we actually can help them. The next stage is onboard, and here we have automated. We automate the adding of them into our learning management system. That's all through our checkout system. We have automated onboarding emails, and we also make sure we follow up people to get them booked in for their onboarding call, booked in for their Kickstarter session. That's our onboarding complete, and also sending them out sort of some welcome, some stuff as well. And then when we deliver our service, for us, this is onboarding calls, Kickstarter calls, coaching, online courses through our learning management platform, customer support, internal knowledge base to be able to give brilliant answers to our clients, and also external knowledge base, which is coming soon, and then also our communities as well, so people can actually help each other. So that's how we deliver what we deliver to our clients. We then want to amplify that by asking people for feedback, by asking people for testimonials, for case studies, and actually like refer an NPS score, so net promoter score. So how likely are you on a score 1 to 10 of referring one of your friends or colleagues to our business? And then we can then give them a ring and ask them about referrals and hopefully generate some more business through that. We also have an affiliate program, so people get paid a commission, and that's all done through our checkout software. And then repeat. How do we actually keep this person in our business as a client? How do we increase their lifetime value? And the couple of ways that we do that is we have an ascension program. So we take people on stages through their systemization journey. We don't want to overwhelm somebody in the day, first few days with everything we could possibly tell them. There's 7 years of content at the time of recording this. So we take them on a logical journey, and as their business grows, their systems improve, we can say, look, now you're ready for the next stage, and let's open this up to you because this is going to make a big difference to you. And so that's the program, or that's the way that we give our clients a logical process to go through that's not overwhelming, but B, actually have them interested and engaged for longer because we're constantly giving them new stuff to work on to improve their business even further. We're also looking at a paid community as well in order to have a bigger audience absorbing or getting the premium content, so to speak, but maybe without the coaching element, so we can actually hopefully help more people. So that's so I'm just going to turn on I'm just on the video now. I've just turned on the next column here, and this is actually a column which includes all of the software stack. I mentioned this before and covered it in a little bit of detail. And what we've done here is literally for every element. So for example, the podcast, what are the software that supports that? For the blog, what software supports that? For our social media channels, what software supports that? And as we go through every single stage in this process, we've just said, look, where is this system stored? Is it just a human? Is it actually a human plus some software? Is it a human plus a CRM? Or whatever it is. And so for us, we use specific software for our sales events. We use software for our strategy calls. We use software for sending our written proposals, for hosting those. And at every point, we've actually got this down. And the final thing I wanted to talk about today is if you're looking at the video, it's these little different colored symbols we have on each of the boxes. For those of you on the podcast, what we do is that once we map this out, we've actually gone through and we've created all of the different stages in the core revenue flow, identified what our core activities or processes or systems are, we then want to give them a grading. And we grade this green, orange, and red, which basically means good, okay, and bad. And then we also have a red with an X in the middle, and that basically means does not exist. So you've got good, okay, bad, or does not exist. The first side of this is that even though you're grading them, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to take action on them. And this is one of the most valuable parts of this process, and probably one of the most challenging, is to decide, okay, look, I've now got this 10,000 foot view on every system in my business needed in order to create recurring revenue. But where is it that I'm going to focus my time on right now? Where's the team going to be actually looking to work on? Where should I be looking to work on? And the skill here is not to simply say, well, everything's bad, therefore we're going to work on everything, because you can't work on everything. You've got to focus on getting each element of this, each of the core elements, up to a minimum standard before you then focus on making any one element outstanding. So hands up, I am guilty as a creator of someone who does get very, very hyper focused of spending probably a little bit too much time on creating new systems to help my clients, to creating content, to updating our courses, to focusing on our coaching. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, we are ultimately giving our clients a better service because of that. But that does mean that certain elements of our core revenue flow have been ignored. And so when I was going through this and marking up these, I identified which things need action. And we actually use, on our diagrams, we use a triangle with an exclamation mark to say that this needs action. And then we grade those between three levels. Either it does not exist or it's really bad and it needs action. That would be a red, and that would be the first priority. It's okay, but it really needs improving. That's a orange exclamation mark, triangle with an exclamation mark. And it's good, but it needs attention it needs a bit more attention to it, and that's a green triangle with an exclamation mark in it. And what this allows me to do is to just be really like pragmatic about, look, time's limited. What am I going to focus on next? And interestingly, when I did this at the time I created this particular core revenue flow, what I realized, and it's so blindingly obvious once I actually put this down in this way, is that the two things in our entire process we're not doing really much of at all at the moment are historically the things that have made us the most money. And I know my sales coach always says this, what have you been doing in the past that was generating revenue that you aren't doing now? And this was one of those moments I went, oh my word, like we are trying so hard at, developing out our community. We're looking at changing our software platform for our course to be able to get a much better delivery and experience for our clients. But we're actually missing out on actually generating new clients in order to sustain and pay for all that, because we hadn't done two main things. And those are regular sales campaigns and regular sales live events. And both of those things have generated a considerable income for us in the past. And hold hands up, we're not doing either at the moment. So that for me are the two items I put on here as red triangles with an exclamation mark in it to say, this is where we need to focus next. And this is incredibly powerful when you're doing your quarterly planning and you're there trying to decide if we have around 98 projects that are live, under maintenance, under development. That could be systems, it could be new projects, it could be areas of the business that we're focusing on for goals and etc. 96 of them, or 98, sorry, that I identified when I actually went through this recently in planning for our next year's goals and targets and trying to actually rationalize what we're doing. And doing that, and I'll cover that in a different video or a different episode, but doing that exercise, creating our project's master list, was an incredibly eye-opening experience. And it made me realize, wow, we're trying to do a lot and we're a very small team. No wonder we're struggling to get it all done. And then I decided, how do I rationalize all of that, all of those projects, all that noise that's going on in the business, all the stuff that is like, yes, of course we need to do it. We need to do everything now in business, but you can't. And what the core revenue flow has allowed me to do is to put my blinkers on, but in a really good way, and to focus on, okay, if we can generate more revenue, we'll have more funds in order to do more. So we can get more stuff done in the long run if we focus on revenue to begin with. And if I looked at this and thought, like, our revenue is doing fantastic, all we need to do is to pump money into, more into advertising, that will be on here. So there's no paid advertising on here at the moment, which you would have on if you were doing paid advertising. That's not on our current mission. It's not on our current plan for the next year. But if you did have paid advertising and everything was, green and core revenue flow was actually looking pretty good, well, actually the red exclamation mark should be on paid ads. Because if everything else is great, you need to then focus all your efforts on increasing ad spend to be able to get more clients. Or if you find actually your delivery isn't going to be able to cope with more clients, then that would be the area that then would be identified as, the red exclamation marks. You need to get that up to speed before you pump in the money. So if that's the case, then maybe you'd have a red exclamation mark on your delivery, or maybe your onboarding, or whatever the bottleneck was, and then a orange one on your paid ads. Because if you fix the delivery part first, then you'll be able to actually scale more easily. Okay, so that's really it. That's all I wanted to go through today. I wanted to show you and explain the core revenue flow. I hope this has worked if you're listening on the podcast. As I said at the beginning, this is available as a video on our website, on the podcast site, www.systemizedyoursuccess.com. There will be a template, which I'm going to show you now, and I'll go through that, which you can then download or you can access. You can then fill out yourself and actually use this to create your own core revenue flow and start actually getting some real clarity on where you should be focusing next. So this is a template for those of you watching the video. And for those of you not, it's a blank version of the entire core revenue flow with boxes for you to fill in for each of the stages. There's multiple boxes at each stage. You don't need to fill them all in. I've created this template to give you some space to put your ideas down. When you're going through this and you're using this template, the one thing and the one mistake I have seen our clients made, and the mistake that I definitely made many times in the early days of using this, is not to get too detailed on this. If we look at my flow here, if we just talk through my flow here. So for example, in our delivery, we just have onboarding call, Kickstarter call, coaching, online courses, customer support. We don't do any detail about what the coaching is about on here, or how we deliver it. When is it delivered? What platform? What does that format? Is there 7 coaching sessions? Is there 1 coaching session? What about one-to-one coaching? What about group coaching? What about ad hoc? Whatever it is. No, it's just coaching, because the detail of that is the system, and that's the decision you make. Is that entire system a red, an orange, or a green? And so that's a decision that you'll make for each part of the system. But what you're not trying to do on here is create flowcharts for every process in the business. Every one of these boxes, so how we run the onboarding call, is a system in itself. There should be a script for that. There should be a supporting material. There'll be a calendar set up for that, and so that people can actually then so the person running that has the system around it, where it's the onboarding is like, or the getting people onto our course platform, for example. Well, there's a flow chart to show how the automation links up, what tags are added, how do they get the access to the courses, how do they get plugged into the emails. All of that is a system, but it doesn't go on here. This is meant to be the 10,000-foot view, system by system, looking at, if I can systemize to an extent each part of this process as a whole, will it work? And for example, when you're starting out and you haven't got automation set up, you haven't got extensive systems or flowcharts or process maps or whatever, or operations manual, then this is probably you doing a lot of this stuff. That doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that you're doing it. So it may be actually a red circle, which indicates for us that, a red circle, which indicates for us that it's bad, but we don't need to do anything about it right now. Because if you are the person that's doing it and you haven't got the facility to get anyone else to do it right now, but there are certain areas in this, you think, gosh, if only I was doing that as well, then it would actually allow me to generate more income, then leave it how it is. It's not that you have to systemize and outsource every part of everything before you move on to the next. It's just that you need to be aware, like, is it happening, even if it's happening badly? Yeah. Is there anything more important that I need to actually just get off the ground and started before I then start working more on the stuff that actually exists, even if it is really bad. And that's it, really. So the flowchart, the template, sorry, is there for you to get access to go through and download. And obviously, if you are listening to this on the podcast, you might want to watch the video as you go through that, as it'll walk you through exactly how we have filled that out. And hopefully that will be a really useful resource for you going forward. So go to the website, www.systemizeyoursuccess.com, find the page for this particular episode with the on the podcast site, and on there you should find the link to be able to get access to the template and obviously this video as well. All right, have a great day. Thank you very much.